We have just a ton of good news to share with you on Good News Wednesday. The only sort of not great news is that Jeff Lutz is having a great time with his family and he won't be able to join us tonight. So let's start right in. We've got Tesla finishing above 260 today at 261.44. And in the after hours, it is up another buck last time I checked. So we've made that breakthrough. Hopefully this will be the beginning of something really cool. It outperformed the indexes and the Magnificent Seven again. And this could be maybe partly an anticipation of a beat on the Q4 numbers next week. But no, I really think it's a belated response to all of the seriously good news that's been going on for a few weeks now. I'm going to go through the list. Number one, Cybertrucks are being delivered, and the reviews are absolutely amazing. Number two, the numbers are at least in line with projections for the Q4 and going forward. Number three, there has not been widespread price cuts, and there have been some increases. Number four, the Model 3 Plus has had amazing reviews, and apparently the cars are just excellent. Number five, the announcement of a mega factory groundbreaking in Shanghai, and now that is apparently going to be making mega packs in by the Q3. Number six, all the permits are approved for GigaMex. Number seven, confirmation of Austin as the factory that will build Generation 3 vehicles, with Q3 expected to be the rollout for that as well. Number eight, the Optimus bot video showing absolutely mind-bending improvements. Number nine, reports trickling in that even the latest V11, version 11 FSD is working at an extremely high level, including my wife's own reporting. She says it's doing really well. And V12, version 12 is going out to level one employees. All of them, it's already out to all the level one employees. It's about 15,000 people that are now driving around on version 12. Number 10, the huge international response to the quality of the NACS approach, the North American charging standard, and to Tesla's product, the actual charging units, suggesting a future where other Tesla licenses and products will be in demand by OEMs and others. Number 11, the street is starting to talk about Tesla as an AI company, or as a car company and an AI company. This is a very major piece of the narrative that needs to change. All of those things, seemingly any one of them could have spirited the stock to these levels. All of them together, we should already be at my 300 number, which is not going to happen by the end of the month. But I'm still all about 410 by the end of January. I think we're going there, and these 11 reasons and more will be the reasons why. All right, this is Randy Kirk. Please hit like, please hit subscribe. You know what to do. Please hit notify. Why haven't you subscribed already? Anyway, I want you guys to help me make this channel even better, by the way. And I'm gonna ask you, I'm gonna talk to you at the end about how you might be able to participate, what you might be able to do to help me make it better. So stay till the very end. We'll talk about that. Now, on another note, I'm going to be on TMZ Live tomorrow. It's going to be about that horrible headline that showed the KUKA, with the KUKA robot that barely injured a worker 2 years ago. and all the headlines, as you know, I did that rant yesterday about it. If you haven't seen that yet, you need to see that rant. Later on, I'll try to remember to put a card up for that, but you can go find it if you want. But that was just a horrific deal. Well, TMZ, I guess they saw my rant. And so tomorrow at 10:45 California time, roughly, I will be on TMZ Live being interviewed by Harvey Levin, and we'll see how that goes. Anyway, I will be 100% supporting the team. Okay. So, also don't forget to get your Cybertrucks, $25 for one, $20, as many more that you would like to have. Multiply however many that is times 20. All the information below in the description. All right. Oh, join Patreon. Shanghai is denying that the Model Y refresh is coming in Q2. That story has way more legs. The story that it's going to happen has got way more legs than the story that it's not. We'll see how that plays out. Shanghai has denied things in the past that have been true. Maybe they're mincing words, not actually lying, but trying to say anyway, whatever it is. The story still, the rumor is strong about the Model Y refresh coming Q2, coming from a number of different directions. We also, a lot of people talking about deflation. What about deflation? What's the effect going to be of deflation? I had somebody in the comments, or maybe it was an email that was sent to me talking about, Randy, what's going on with deflation? And couldn't that really be a bad thing for the economy? Couldn't that really be evidence that we're going into recession? Isn't it bad for the companies that are going through deflationary pressures? Well, yes and no, and yes and no. Anyway, this is a very short story. Maybe I'll do a longer one later, but let's talk about the three kinds of deflation. Number one is a bad kind. That's the no demand kind of deflation. That is where your warehouse is full. Your factory is loaded to just loaded with product. You've got raw materials sitting around. You've got employees standing around because there just is no demand for your stuff. That's a bad kind of deflation where you're having to lower your prices in order to clean out those inventories. And I've seen it in situations where it didn't matter how much you lowered the price. There just wasn't any demand at all for certain kinds of products. So that's a very bad kind of deflation. A good kind of deflation, or at least could be good kind of deflation, is where there's rebalancing after some kind of imbalance. So that's what we're going through now. We've had this terrible imbalance with regard to prices going crazy up. That had to do with every kind of thing, from raw material shortages to shipping capability shortages to labor being completely not available to the point where you just hire anybody that actually could walk through the door and not fall on their face. I mean, so we had all these imbalances. Well, those imbalances are now straightened out. And so the prices, if they come down as a result of companies being more productive in even that way, even in just in the rebalancing, that's a good kind of deflation. And then really good deflation is where productivity drives prices down. You see that in everything from what it used to cost for more money for a 28-inch television. I mean, literally a 28-inch television, 30 years ago would have been $1,000, and now you get a 78-inch smart TV for the same money. That kind of deflation is outstanding. It provides us with more wealth. We get more stuff for fewer dollars. That's a good thing. So deflation is likely in 2024, apparently. I'm believing it. I'm stating it. We will see deflation. We will not only crash through 2% inflation, we will go down to the point where we are at zero and maybe even into absolute deflation across the economy. This is going to be very bad for the Fed because they want it to be at 2%. And so they'll have to lower interest rates, as we've been talking about a lot, and we will talk about more later, even in this particular episode. All right, the Kobayashi letter says, you can't make this up. He's right, you can't. The market is now pricing in a base cut of 7 interest rate cuts in 2024. 7. Okay. There's even a 10% chance, according to the market, of 8 rate cuts in 2024, with a 1% chance of 9 rate cuts. Well, let's go with the 7. Okay. 7 and a quarter, that would be 1 3/4, 134 more basis points. That would be lovely. That would put mortgages down around 5.5. That'd be good. That's fine. Okay. And then, in other words, he says, markets are saying there's a possibility of up to 3 times as many rate cuts as the Fed is guiding. Well, let's call it 2 times. Markets are expecting anywhere from 175 to 225 basis points. Natural gas. So yeah, okay. That's what he's showing. All right. Yeah, could happen. Very likely will happen. In fact, I guess I could predict it will happen. I think we'll be more closer. I think mortgages will be at 6. Fed rates will be at 3. Bonds will be at 2, something in that. I haven't figured out all the details, but yeah, we're going to be much, much lower interest rates starting right away. I mean, it's going to happen way faster than anybody's expecting. In fact, today, bonds were up again, meaning the 10 years, the yields were down again, which means the bonds themselves were up. We'll talk about that also more in a minute. All right. I told you I'd look into the gas futures. All right. So natural gas futures are higher, both due to weather and also to Middle East issues, according to those who claim to know. And they know more about it than I do. That's why I had to look it up. So if I got the right guys, then that's what's going on. But the price is still, and I don't need anybody to show me this. All you got to do is look at the charts. The prices are still at historically low levels, especially if you take inflation into consideration. So they're kind of in the middle to the lower range of where they've been over the last 20 years. And that's nominally, no inflation. They are at levels that they were 20 years ago nominally. So natural gas is cheap, cheap, cheap. Gasoline futures are at $2.15 right now. They are right in the middle of the range over the past 20 years, but super low again after you take into consideration inflation. The price at the pump is about average over the last 5 years at $3.10. That's nationally, but futures prices on oil and gasoline suggested those prices are going down. So we'll see what happens over the winter. I think you'll see gasoline prices go under $3, maybe even start going down to some of the lows that we saw during that 20 years of $2.25, $2.50. I'm not making that prediction. That's a possibility. Overall, commodity prices have dropped 25% in 2023, which obviously is huge. And the World Bank expects commodity prices to stabilize in 2024. I'm not 100% sure. We'll see what that happens there. It's really hard because you've got the basket of commodities. You can put it into like the precious metals, you can put just the metals, you can talk about agricultural commodities, you can talk about, so there's all these different categories. And so in order for all of them to go down an average of 25% for the year, you have to have, lots of some major drops to make up for, like gold is up this year. Anyway, I think you get that. All right. Jeremy Siegle, he's one of my favorites. He was on CNBC today. He believes 2024 is another bull with a 12 to 15% increase in the S&P. Like I said this morning, and I hadn't already seen what Jeremy had to say, he and I think so much alike. Anyway, he said the bull is maybe going to come out of those secondary stock issues. The ones that haven't been part of the story yet. You've got the Magnificent Seven making up a massive amount of the gain of 2023, and the mid caps, the guys on the Russell, the other 93 stocks on the S&P, they just haven't really gotten a chance to participate. He believes that first quarter earnings are going to be much better than expected. And as interest rates comes down, he says, that's going to just mean that second quarter earnings are going to be better than anybody is anticipating. So he's got some fairly strong ideas that next year is going to be a pretty darn good year. All right, let's check out where the markets are now. And then what we're going to do, I'm going to ask you to help me how to make the channel even better than it is. Well, I mean, maybe you don't think it's that good. So maybe I'm going to ask you to make it good or better, whichever one you believe. All right, let's start with Tesla, of course. And Tesla is still up $1.10 in the after hours at 262.54. The next really, there's basically stops at 275 and 285 before 300, little tiny ones, but there's a little bit of a barrier at those two price points. We'll see how quickly it can break through those. Let's now look at the rest of the markets. Why am I having so much trouble finding what I want to ask? I must be excited about my opportunity tomorrow on the television. It's been a long time. I was telling my wife it's been a long time. Did you know I had a lot of TV exposure a few years back when I wrote a book about teen sex. Yeah, you didn't know I wrote a book about teen sex. Yeah, I was on the old Geraldo show. You guys are all old enough to remember that. Yeah, I was on that show. Anyway, okay, here's what we got. We've got the 10-year is now up 1.5 basis points in the after hours, but that's still 3.8, okay? 3.8%. We have all of the rest, everything's in the green in terms of yields right now in the after hours. So shockingly, continuously, these short-termers are in the green right now. Makes no sense to me, but at some point, somebody's going to send me an email. One of you is going to send me a comment. Somebody's going to point me to an article. Somebody's going to try to explain what's going on with this inversion, which started a year ago, July. So we now have very close to a year and a half inverted. Very, very strange. Okay, let's now look at oil is down a little bit, but the Brent is down more. So that would suggest that there's a little bit of easing fear about Red Sea oil, or Red Sea transportation, rather, Middle Eastern oil, a little bit of less anticipation of problems now that the U.S. and 17 other fleets are there with all kinds of weaponry pointed at these folks. Natural gas, which I just spent a lot of time talking about a minute ago, is unchanged in the pre-market. Gold has been skyrocketing higher. Why do you think? Well, the dollar is down 10% compared to where it was just a couple of months ago. And so that, of course, gold is at least partially responding to that. Now, gold also affects the price of, the dollar also affects the price of oil. So if the dollar was 10% stronger, oil would be even lower. So, it's everything has to, you have to look at each one of them individually, but that just goes to show you gold is not just up because of the dollar. Gold is up because people are looking at that as a reservoir of some kind. All right, we've got the Bitcoin continuing to be up very, very strong now at 43 and at 5. And here we got the Dow. All right. So we're reversing what happened in the equities today. We've seen so many times where the Dow has been ahead and the NASDAQ has been behind. Well, that was true today in the market. The Dow was up and the NASDAQ was, I think, down slightly. And now what we have in the after hours is that we've got the Dow down 18.05, so hardly down at all. And the NASDAQ's up 950, 0.06. So not a lot of change here. You could say flat pretty much. And the S&P future 100% flat. It's only up 1 point or 0.02%. So there you go. That's where all that's sitting. Okay, let me talk to you about, all right. Some of you would consider yourself to be friends of the channel. You're pulling for me, right? You'd like me to be successful, right? Or you just like to make sure that I keep doing this because every once in a while you get a flicker of an idea or something, it causes you to even want to go out and do more research to make some kind of decision. For whatever reason, maybe you just think that it's fun to watch this old man make a goof of himself. I don't with all my fancy shirts. Anyway, but I want to step it up. Yeah, I want to go to an entirely new level. My goal is to double the number of views on an average day. Right now, it's right around 15, 18,000. I'd like to get that up to 30, 40,000 a day. I want to double the number of subscribers. We're sitting at about 18.7. I want to get that up to like 40,000 by the end of 2024. And to that end, I've hired a coach, and he's a coach. He's a top. I mean, these guys are top of the line, very outstanding YouTube. I've used them in the past. I actually have had some training from these folks in the past, but now I've got a coach specifically training me with regard to this channel. I mean, we've gotten it to a certain level. I don't know that I personally, without some outside third-party help, am going to get it much further. Now, it might just continue to go along. I mean, it's pretty good for 1 year, for it's like 13 months now to have 17, almost 18, almost 19,000 subscribers. Not bad for 1 year, but I just believe it could happen. We could just make it better. So what can you do? All right. And by the way, the coach we're already up 20% since the coach started, but you can help. All right, here's what you can do. Use the comment section. Tell me what you'd like to see to make your experience better. Now, there are several things that I can't do because I'm doing this almost live approach. Okay, like this video, I started researching it. I'd done some of the writing, a couple, 3 hours ago, but then most of it is done like an hour before the show starts. I do the show. As soon as I do the show, I throw it immediately up. Like this morning, I had that big mess. If you watch this morning, you know that I had a real mess up right in the middle there. There's nothing I can do about that. Not if it's going to go live at 10 minutes past 7 in the morning. And this one, I try to get it live between 4:30 and 5, usually. And so if it's going to go live and it go immediately live so that it's fresh because it's news, there's no way I can edit it. There's no way that I have to give you please, I have to verbally say, would you please, subscribe? Would you please hit notify? Would you please hit the like? I have to do that verbally because I can't throw up the little animations at the bottom. I can't do, there's a lot of things like that that I can't do. If there's mistakes, I can't fix them. Not like this morning, I could have fixed that error. It would have been an hour late. That's how long it takes. Even if you take out one little piece, it takes YouTube an hour to redo that video. So no editing. I can't do chapter divisions. Somebody have asked me over and over. One commenter just like thought maybe if he asked me often enough, I'd finally do it. I can't do the chapter divisions on those. There's no time to do that. I can't replace my verbal. I'm sorry, I did that, or I told you that. Okay. Anyway, so beyond that, I'm wide open. You know, I've got a regular rhythm now. We've got our, good news Monday through Friday with the different co-hosts. We've got Brian White on Monday and Tuesday. I try to have guests sometimes on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday at the noon hour, around noon in California. I've got, generally try to have guests on the Saturday morning show and the Sunday morning show. And then on Saturday afternoon, I have the only news show on the only Tesla news that you're going to find on Saturday. And then on Sunday night, I do my show probably consistently one of the most watched shows of the week for me. Now, this week, of course, will be on Monday night because of New Year's. But that show where we talk about what is the financial stuff that's going to happen in the upcoming week, both generally and with regard to Tesla, that show does extremely well. So we have this rhythm, of course, in my After the Bell show each morning. So we have this rhythm. Is that rhythm working for you? Is that too much stuff per day? Well, if it is, I may not, I probably won't slow down for now at least. But is there some part of that you'd like to see change? Are there any of my guests who you really don't like at all? I mean, that would be bad, but let me know. I mean, seriously, put it in there. Why? What is it about the guests? Don't just say, I don't like whoever, say because they, or maybe there's some parts of my style. I wave my hands around too much. I don't know if I can fix that. Maybe you don't like my shirts. Hey, whatever, it doesn't matter. Let me know. What are the subjects that you'd like me to cover that maybe I don't? Maybe you'd like to see more about Boring Company and Neuralink and X and SpaceX and Starlink and all that. Maybe you'd like to see more about that. Well, I know a fair piece about those companies as well, and I could also bring on more guests. If that's something you'd like, tell me in the comments. You realize, of course, if 4 people say, I'd like to see more about Starlink, that tells me that maybe there's a bunch of folks that would like that. But if 20 tell me that man, we really want to see what's happening with Starlink, please bring us any really interesting news about Starlink. Well, then I'm probably going to have to really probably do that. Okay, so it's a numbers game like everything else. Are there other guests you'd like me to bring on? We've got the 5 on each night. We've got that covered, but I still have Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday and Saturday morning, Sunday morning, where I have the opportunity to bring in guests. Is there somebody out there who you think would be really good that I don't normally have on the show, or maybe I've never had them on the show? All right, that's what I'm asking for. If you can do some of that stuff, throw me your thoughts down there in the comments. I would love to hear it. And let's take one last shot. Where is Tesla now in the after hours? We have got it up $1.14, continuing to move up. Maybe we'll start trying to break through that 275 tomorrow, or Friday, or next Tuesday. All right. Hey, listen, thank you so much for helping me build this show to where it is today. Be sure to watch for me tomorrow on TMZ at 10:45 California, roughly. I don't know if it's going to come on exactly at 10:45, but that's when they told me to be ready to go. And we'll see how that all works out. So, hey, it's been great talking to you.